Hey everybody, welcome to my creative writing channel, Critical Storytelling, where I use critical analysis to help you tell your story. My name is Ella, and today I wanted to talk about the persona again, using Wilfred Owen's poem Futility. It was written in 1919, so we have a modernist era poem. It was written during World War I, in which he fought and died. And I think it's an excellent example of persona because the hardships that he faced, and it's an example of those goals of good writing that he took the opportunity to process his experiences, thoughts, and emotions, as cynical as they are. And he definitely has a well-developed inner voice. You can tell Wilfred Owen when you read him. And then making the lasting impression. So I only just read this poem recently, but I think despite all of the senselessness in it, it is beautiful, despite the pain. So we're going to look at it, and we'll discuss themes of disillusionment, the contrast between light and dark, and the evolutionary process. Futility. Move him into the sun. Gently its touch awoke him once. At home, whispering of fields unsown, always it woke him, even in France until this morning in the snow. If anything might rouse him now, the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs so dear achieved, our sides full nerved, still warm, too hard to stir. For it was it for this the clay grew tall? Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all? So, for the disillusionment, I think that it comes off rather cruel, almost like a game that he is suggesting as a persona, as a soldier in World War I, having seen death up close many times, to suggest that when he sees his brother in arms dead, either by shelling or by freezing to death, that we just place him in the sun to warm up. So there's disillusionment because he's lost touch with reality. But it is also in him taking the time to make that, almost sarcastic suggestion. I mean, the title of the poem is Futility, that he is able to rise above the situation because he's staying apart from it while also making a suggestion of something that might be done, because look at how the earth came alive. The clays of a cold star. So, the opaque nature of clay and earth, and how, during the modernist era, they had a basic understanding of science, deep geological time, that the earth was billions of years old, and, the process of evolution that, we didn't all just spring forth from a rock. It took time. So there's also themes of nostalgia. With disillusionment, we don't just have loss. We have to have something to lose first. So he's pointing out that, maybe he'll come back to life if we put him in the sun, because nostalgia, there was once a time when he slept in a meadow and the sun woke him there. So there is a romantic theme there almost that he's, besides all of the elements of nature here, that he is remembering that this life that was given once slept in a field of flowers, maybe. And how beautiful that is to remember, despite the cold, ugly circumstances that he is having to navigate now. So, there's enough disillusionment there. We'll get back to it at the end, but we'll move on to contrast, the contrast between light and dark. Because when he says until this morning, until this snow, we get the impression that, well, where is the sun? Is it still snowing, or it snowed last night and now the sun has come out to reveal this senseless death, the violence of the day. And the contrast, furthermore, with think how it wakes the seeds, how it woke once the clays of a cold star. So on one hand, we have the burning rays of the sun, and on the other, the opaque clay, the lifeless clay of the earth. But how, we'll get to the next, we're foreshadowing the theme of evolution here. Our limbs so dear achieved, our sides. So with wakes the seeds, there's a protective element, a covering over seeds, and they can look very lifeless. That, their potential does not necessarily reveal itself, upon first looking at them. And it's amazing how seemingly lifeless they are, and still that even under the ground, the sun can penetrate to make them come alive. So why not this man? Are we so fragile? Think about how simple a seed is, and how, we are mighty bodies, how much time it's taken for us to become conscious of ourselves to the point that we can write poetry. So there's definitely a contrast there that he's saying, look, if the sun can make a seed come to bloom, then why can't we bring this man back? Was it for this the clay grew tall? So we have disillusionment again, and also this is where we're getting into the theme of evolution, that there's this investment of time, that so much time has passed to get us where we are today, that we have so many species of birds and grass and meadow, everything that's in a meadow, and people, and how precious that is, and how much time that it's taken us to get here. Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil? So I had to look that word up. It means kind of like silly, stupid. That, what are you doing? You stupid sunbeams. You're bringing all of this. Just let it sleep, because what happens when it comes to life, we have wastefulness. Just absolute senselessness. And for someone to come along and be able to write this, to make this horrible experience into a beautiful poem, because of the pain that he's able to capture. And it's going to stay with me forever. What made fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all? Yeah, disillusionment. What are you doing, son? Why can't you just leave well enough alone? We could have been, some dead geological space like Mars, not doing anything, nothing going about. But here we are, doing things like thinking, at war with one another. It really seems kind of silly. What do you think? So, yeah, he is exhibiting the three good goals of writing there by he's processing this horrible experience. And that helped him develop his voice over time. Most of the poetry of Wilfred Owen was written within about a year of his service in World War One, in which he died. And but it is because he took the time and dedicated the sensitivity that he had to the absolute carnage that he experienced on a daily basis, developed that inner voice and his personal power, and shared with us through poetry in a way that will last with us forever, to help us make sense of, even today, despite, or maybe because of, our technological advances, how much value that we've lost with just things like lying in the sun in a meadow. So I hope that has given you a little more perspective on persona. It is a character. It is our point of view, or the storyteller's point of view. Remember, when I talk about rules of good writing and goals of good writing, I'm not just talking about the written word. I could have just not read this off a paper, but memorized it from heart and spoken it. And that would still be a story. It would still have persona. It would still have disillusionment. It would still evoke feeling that lasts. And that's the goal, really, is to be able to tell a story to elicit emotion in people that helps them in their daily life. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're telling the story for yourself. It really doesn't matter. The purpose of the channel is to help us process things in a way that we have a takeaway for things that really shouldn't make sense. But anyway, thank you, Wilfred Owen, and thank you for listening.